Now, would you look at that? I have finally understood the task and made the three way block swapper. It's not stylish, but it's stackable. Basically required to make this type of notches and continue the signal with repeaters because it's going to eventually run out of power as we are using redstone dust over here. So the concept is exactly the same as the previous entry for three-way block swapper. I have the half double piston extenders on the other side, and basically we turn off this D flip-flop, which is copper bulb, so it retracts. Then we shift our blocks around, and then this copper flopper gets powered again, so piston can extend again. So blast furnace, let's get smoker. Let's get blast furnace again. Let's go back to furnace. The the connections I'm saying, the way to power this thing is a bit smooshed, I would say, unlike that one. It's even thinner than that one, which is a bit more surprising. But anyway, let's go with the yellow. Well, the brown and the yellow are basically the same, just they're like the corner blocks. So in case the yellow is the smoker and the brown is the blast furnace, they're in theory the same, but the way they are wired is a bit different because of how this layout end up being. So this is our control panel basically. So if I want the blast furnace, I press that and it does that. So it powers, there is a sticky piston here, which is a rising edge monostable circuit. It's going to come here and power this brown block. Basically the lower side, it's showing that. And then we are going to power this setup for 8 game ticks. Yeah, 8 game ticks. So it is here. We have this setup. It's basically pistons on top of pistons. So if I'll unpower it for a moment to show how exactly it was laid out. So this is how it is laid out in general. So when the power comes in, we are first disabling the copper flopper. So this uh, line comes in, this bottom one. It's going to come here, uh, uh, come here. It's going to power this redstone dust through this block, which will turn off this copper flopper, which will retract all of this, so you can do the shifting. Then, as this observer is powering this block, which goes here and then goes here, we have this repeater at 8 game ticks long. Well, we increase the delay because this is 3 game ticks long, if I'm not wrong, or 6 game ticks, and we extend that to 8 game ticks. So this piston extends and then it retracts. It is done for 8 game ticks because this setup requires to push first, and only then will this piston end up with this redstone dust, so it could be powered. So we require that bit of delay. So this will first get powered and then this will get powered. This doesn't immediately get powered because there's a glass here and we don't have QC. So we don't have issues of this line being powered before this line. So this 8 game ticks repeater is going to power this sticky piston, which will push this structure down. It is important that there is moss because moss doesn't stick to slime. So this entire structure will go down. It will power this entire line of normal pistons, which will extend this line of pistons, which will get powered by this line of redstone dust on glass, and basically shift this entire 3 thing to here. So blast furnace will end up here. What it also does is it resets this top section. So as you can see, I ditched the sticky pistons, like they were over here. This is a sticky piston here, this design. I ditched it because there's no point of having the sticky pistons over there, as we can do the same thing here. Uh, Basically, the same thing happens with the top bit. It's just powered slightly differently. So let's shift the entire thing. Here, it's going to power this sticky piston, which is going to come here and power this rising edge monostable circuit, which will deactivate the copper flopper and send that 8 gimptic long uh, power to this sticky piston, which is going to power this line and this line. Again, as this is glass, it's not going to interfere with this pistons over here, and we'll first push these blocks down, and then these pistons would be in line of this redstone dust, which will push it again. So basically bringing smoker to the pushing part, and do the same thing basically as the bottom one. Thing to note here is I forgot to mention this brown one, but I'll mention it here. Then we repower the copper flopper, which is done with this observer. So it will extend, these will fully push down, and when this is going to retract, only then after 6 game ticks, this observer will power the copper flopper again. So this will first deactivate the copper flopper thanks to this rising is monostable circuit, and then we'll reactivate it after all of these pistons have done pushing. So that's what that observer is doing. In the brown circuit, we have the same thing, but here I just forgot to mention it. Pretty cool. Then we have the red circuit, or the middle one, which is kind of same as the previous one. It is basically doing the same thing. We are going to deactivate the copper flopper, then we are going to power this piston, this row of pistons, line of pistons, and this line of pistons. Because there's no point of making a circuit which is going to remember where the uh, furnaces were shifted to. So we power both of them, it will eventually end up in the middle. Basically that. So we have this three-way block swapper. Let's go a bit in detail how the middle works. This again is sticky piston on rising edge monostable circuits, which is coming here, which is this repeater is powering this block, which will end up power into the copper flopper, deactivating it. Then we have a line coming here. Alex, this is for the reactivation of the copper flopper. So it will go down, and when it will come up after 8 game ticks, will power the copper flopper again. Let's go back to beginning. Here we power the copper flopper. Then we have this line, basically pushing all, activating all of these blocks. It's important to have these timings for the repeater, otherwise it may fail because the bedrock chunk of being multi-threaded. And the same thing happens on the bottom. And when this thing retracts, this is because it's a falling edge monostable circuit, it's going to reactivate that copper flopper, as you saw. Now, here is the proof that it is actually stackable. So after 15 line, we require a extending line like this, basically, every 16 block, because we don't have the redstone juice. This should theoretically go all the way up to the simulation distance. I say theoretically because again it's bedrock edition, there could be some kind of jank that I'm not aware of. But by the looks of it, 3 three sets seems to work without any issues.